I love your glasses. Look at you. I should have worn my glasses.
All right.
Oh,
we could have been four eyes.
Tara, we could have been trips.
I'm so upset.
Okay.
Let's kick it.
All right, girls. Welcome back to another episode of Allowed to Ask. Today we have our guest, Lisanne Godnick, who is a therapist, and she's going to help work through a lot of life's challenges.
Amen. Hi, Lisanne.
Hi, sweetie.
Thank you so much for being
So happy
here.
to be with you guys.
I feel so much less tense. I was very tense on the way here with all the traffic, so I'm so grateful that you are here.
Should we talk about why the traffic made us so tense?
That's true. Actually, a therapist me. Like, I was literally having agita.
Because you were worried that I was going to be upset.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, but that's like the first thing we have to move on from in life, okay? Like, it's not our jobs to make people happy or unhappy.
No, I was getting bitchy
like
towards
that.
the Uber driver.
And me too.
I was
And
like-
I felt bad for the Uber driver.
I kept asking, how many more minutes?
Yeah.
How many more minutes?
Right.
And I was tracking you and, like, sweating. Like, my
And
body.
I don't know how to track, so it's
Yeah.
okay.
So we're all good.
We're all
but I
good.
wanted to say one thing. The first time I heard your name was 11 years ago. And your really good friend who used to live in my community, we don't mention names,
Right.
said,
We can if they're
my friend
friends.
Lisanne is going on one of your trips. And you were like a virgin,
A trip virgin.
a trip virgin. So she's like,
Or another virgin.
Since you're friends with my son.
she goes, please, be really nice to my friends and just make sure she's good and happy. And I said, of course, I always would. But now knowing you and how much joy, love, light you bring, I mean, you really should have been taking care of me.
I think we took care of each other.
No, you didn't go.
Oh, you're talking about...
That
yes,
trip.
correct.
Right.
Well,
But now
I
that
went
know-
to the next one.
That's right. But you're just a great person.
Right, that was-
Time flies.
Time really, really flies. That's so cute. When was that?
11 years ago.
11 years ago.
Been friends
50.
for 11 years. That's so nice.
Yes, known each other 11 years.
50. That's
Wow.
right.
So I think it's very helpful and relevant to be sitting down with someone like you, because we always like shoot the shit every single week and talk about advice with dating specifically and relationships between like friends, lovers, and even mother-daughter relationships. So we're very happy to have a quote-unquote expert here to kind of give some insight. So I think it'd be helpful first to kind of explain, what your profession is, maybe what your expertise is when it comes to therapy, and we can kind of go from there.
Okay. I'm a psychotherapist. I was actually thinking in the cab ride how long I've been a psychotherapist for. And I've been a psychotherapist for 37 years.
Wow.
Crazy.
Very wise.
Crazy. I specialize in couples therapy, something I've termed divorce recovery, which is sort of like from the day you find out you are or the day you initiate a divorce to sort of the resolution to when you get into dating again.
That's something I wanted to talk about, actually. Dating
Yeah.
post-divorce /
It's
breakup.
yes, and it involves the whole legal process and everything. It's really a recovery, and it's really lovely because it's lovely to be able to look at somebody and say, "You're not always going to feel this way."
Yeah.
So yes, that individual, my age range probably is from about 25 to 70.
It's a large age range.
Large age range.
We both fall in there. Let's do it.
In the middle, I would say between 40 and 60.
Okay.
I treat a lot of men. I like men. And a
Interesting.
lot of men don't like to see women. And a lot of women don't like to see men. But I like to see men. I really enjoy it enormously. I was trained fairly classically, meaning in a kind of Freudian way where you go back and you understand patterns and you understand trends and earlier relationships. And I still believe that that's an important foundation. But over time, we evolve.
Yeah.
And now I focus a lot on patterns, whether they be maladaptive, whether they be adaptive, whether they are focusing in the workplace, the family, the home, the couple,
Yeah.
so on and so forth.
That brings me into thinking about like attachment styles when it comes to dating and how people can really cope and deal with that. Like, I think I very much have an anxious attachment style. So I'm curious to kind of hear your thoughts around, like, even first, what are attachment styles, and, whether you have anxious attachment or is the other one avoidant, I believe.
There are many, but
those two are
avoidant and anxious are the two. Okay, so I am a person that focuses a lot more on the individual than the label, because
I like
really,
that.
if you sit down with somebody that says I'm not anxious, you ask them a few questions, 15 minutes in, they're having a full anxiety attack. Right? So basically, we're all human. And
Yeah.
but when it comes to styles, different ways of attaching really speaks to all of your relationships. And most of the time, they're pretty consistent throughout if you dig away. So the way you relate to a date can often be the way you relate to a boss or a coworker or a teacher or a friend.
Mm-hmm. That's very interesting.
Okay. And I was thinking for young people out there who, because I do have friends who have kids that they don't even know if their kids date. And I think, how do you get somebody out there for the first time, like to get the confidence to show up and be their best selves and not take it personally? And
well, okay, first of all, I'm not really sure that it's the job of the parent to get their kids out there. A lot of
interesting. I feel like that's something that you might not agree with.
Right.
Well,
I would have been,
but wait.
building
You're talking
confidence
to
all along. Okay?
Oh, building confidence, absolutely. Getting them out there to date. Dating in a lot of ways has to do with separation, right? It's the next phase in life. We're leaving home. We're creating another home. And so one of the ways that you separate is to move away from your earlier attachment to your parents. And
I'm learning
this
so
is so
much.
interesting.
but if you
Me
think
too.
about it, I mean, if you think about it, and I'm a mother and a therapist, and so
And a good mother.
thank you, and you are too.
Thank you.
Can confirm.
Confirm. Listen, sometimes people want to keep things to themselves, and the only way that they really can go out there and separate is to actually do it on their own, and that can be very frustrating for a parent. And it can be very frustrating for a child.
Right. So there's no tools or anything to give them that little, I compare dating, like you need to get out there and date because it's like looking for a job. It's a numbers game. You go on a million interviews.
It's fully a numbers game. The tools we give our kids 15 years before they start dating. Because we teach our kids that they're lovable and that they're appealing. And that somebody
This
else
explains a
will
lot
find them
about how I
loving.
am when I'm dating, honestly.
Yeah, it's interesting.
But, so it's not a matter of teaching somebody at 18 in the same way. Think about it in terms of something besides dating. Think about it in terms of going to college. We're teaching our children to take value in education and separation and moving on way before they go to college.
Right.
It's building these stepping stones along the way.
Yeah.
I like that.
We start with camp.
We start with camp.
And then we do college. It's
Well,
like
we start with putting them on the bus for day camp. No, we start with the threes.
Right. It's really true.
Yeah,
I think nowadays, because everything's so different and competitive, they start in the womb. Like now it's like a whole
Full
new
womb.
thing. Yeah.
Full womb.
I think you guys lost me for a second there.
We're talking about school applications. Literally have patients who, before they deliver the child, are looking into what
they're on
career
wait
programs.
lists.
They're on wait lists.
City kids?
I'm not, I treat mostly, well, that's not actually true. I
Yeah.
have patients in the suburbs, but I don't know that it's so different.
I also see you have a little hand chain. I have one too.
Hand chain.
Love
my hand
girlies.
chain.
Me too. It's my identity. Truly.
Love my hand chain.
Okay, you kind of touched on this, which is very interesting and I think kind of different from my mom and I talk about in the sense where like we want people to feel very comfortable for their parents to talk to their kids and vice versa. But something that I think honestly we're working on too, or you might not realize, but I'm working on with her is like setting boundaries.
Boundaries.
And that's something that, I go to therapy and something I work on with my therapist is like setting a boundary, not only with dating, because there have been, guys in my past where I'm like, I'll do anything for you. And then I'm like, I'm unhappy as hell. So it's like, that very much translates in other aspects of my life, even with like friends and parents. Like, there's times where I want to tell you things, but there's times where I just like really don't.
I back off a little now.
I know, yeah, we'll get there. But like, how can, not referring about us, like how can people really, set a healthy boundary when it comes to whether it's like friendships or, looking for whatever it may be, like how can people incorporate boundaries into their life in like a healthy way? Asking for a friend, aka me, because I don't know how to do that.
So remember, what you need to be a boundary on Monday, you might not need to have that same boundary on Thursday. None of this is set in stone, okay? And when I said that maybe it's not our job as mothers to support our kids in dating, I sort of meant not getting involved in a particular kind of way, sort of taking a back seat and recognizing that they sometimes need to fall without us
Yeah.
picking them up. Boundaries are tough, because if you think of boundaries, why are they so hard? They're so hard. They're so difficult to institute, because they make us afraid of being alone. The opposite of boundaries is merge, togetherness, and that makes you feel very safe and very loved and very warm.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of finding the balance between the connection and the boundary.
Yeah.
That's what I help people focus on.
I like that.
And also taking time to take care of yourself along the way too.
I
Not
was thinking about that
lose
too.
yourself, your sense of self.
In the relationship.
Correct.
Yes, that's something that we've been talking about a lot recently, and I just like find very like prevalent in my life right now is like a lot of friends and just like people are really settling down with partners, and it's like, you know, my friends do a very good job at this, but you know, still very much having their own identity in a relationship, even though your partner is becoming your whole entire life. Like, I think it's very important for people to still, you know, make time for friends and family, and you know, have like a thriving career, maybe have a life really outside of your relationship. And you know, kind of talk me through that of like, 'cause I've been in relationships before where I have clearly have not been in good relationships before, but like I've just lost all self-identity, and like my whole life revolved around them, and this was like years and years and years ago. But like working through that challenge, I think, is so important and very prevalent, especially with my age now, where people are settling down.
Okay, so first of all, you need to redo your script and be nicer to yourself. Because
Oh my God, this is like turning into a therapy session
while
for
you-
me.
We
While
feel
you-
so good now. Forget
Yeah.
the traffic.
Forget the traffic.
Fuck traffic. I'm like in a better mood now.
But really, when you say you were in bad relationships, you were in the relationship that you could handle at that time. It was the only way that you knew how to have a
obsessed.
relationship.
Wow,
With
I need an
you.
appointment this week.
Yeah.
But really, it's
Yeah.
it's the truth. You need an appointment this week? No, I have dinner with you.
You're so
I'm not
good.
giving away friendships. But really, think about it. You were able to have that relationship at that time, and now isn't it amazing that you were able to and yearning to have a different kind of relationship?
Yeah.
The best thing about, the most important thing to think about in terms of what you're speaking of, maintaining your sense of self, is also another way of talking about boundaries, because you're talking about having a boundary in the relationship.
Yeah.
So knowing that you can have a relationship with somebody and not become one with them, right? So,
Yeah.
you know, realizing that the healthier relationship has to do with two individuals, not two individuals that become the mirror images of each other.
You're so fucking wise.
Oh, terrible.
Terrible. Amazing.
I never finished the word terrible. You know
Right.
that.
Everything's an abbreviation.
Give me your best to breathe.
abreves.
Give me your best to breathe. A breathe?
My license plate on my car says flaw perf.
Look,
Flawless perfect?
I even have the card.
Good for you, because people stop and they say,
What the fuck else would flaw perf be?
who knows?
Are you flaw perf?
I am not flaw perf, but my car is.
I love that. I abbrev sometimes, but like
Abreves are very important.
yeah. I'm gonna start incorporating more abbreves.
Yeah, definitely incorporate the abreves.
Okay.
Dealing with rejection for people, like not taking it all on themselves. It's not their fault. It's you know, some people can't recover from that and go down a slippery slope.
Can I pivot in? Am I interrupting?
No,
No.
pivot.
I'm a
Keep
big
going.
interrupter.
No,
No,
interrupt
you
us
interrupt as much as you
for
want.
So
as long as you want.
let's talk about rejection, and let's talk about it. This is a perfect entree into online dating.
I want to talk to you about online dating, so this is super convenient.
Am I being bossy pushy and
No, we love
introducing it
bossy
first?
pushy.
Okay.
No, I want you to like throw me around.
Okay. So that's a problem in the relationship.
No, they may like that.
Like throw me around in the bedroom, but don't throw me around
In
everywhere
life.
else. In
Exactly.
life. Cool.
Okay.
You're like cat.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're good, honey. You're doing very well.
She knows too much.
She knows as much as she can know. So online dating, I'm a huge, huge fan.
This is sponsored by a dating app, by the way.
Really?
First round's on me.
Well, I am a huge fan. I was married for 25 years. I got divorced, and I met my partner the night before the Russia trip,
Right.
which is why you
I
were
get it.
there to take care of me on the
Right.
Russia trip.
Now fiance.
Now my fiance. And
Fiance.
fiance.
I love that.
And we took like a 9-month break at a certain point in the earliest part of our relationship, and I went online. And I literally...
Can I interrupt you for a second?
Yeah.
Do you believe in breaks?
Yes, I don't, it depends on, okay, big answer. Depends on why you're breaking and at what point in the relationship you're taking the break.
Noted. Cool.
Those are very important distinctions. So if I'm treating a couple who's married for 10 years, statistically speaking, if you move out of the marital home, 70% of the time you don't go back. Right? So sometimes it's
We're throwing
important.
in stats now. I like this.
Sometimes it's important to tolerate discomfort. And sometimes taking a break is the antithesis of tolerating discomfort.
Okay.
But back to online dating.
Yeah. Quick interrupt.
Did I answer your question?
You absolutely did.
Okay. So, and I am, as I said again, for the third time, I'm a huge fan of online dating. However, you don't know the person. Okay, so a lot of things can happen. One is you can create a relationship with a pen pal. And all of a sudden you're texting for months and you've never met the person. So a few things can happen from that. One, nobody is going to be as good as a text exchange. It's like seeing a movie. They're never, when you meet the star, they're never the real person.
That is why I don't like to text before a date.
I always say you don't need a pen pal. You talk a little bit, and then you say, let's have a coffee or a drink.
It's funny you say that because I'm actually going on a date tonight. And the guy said to me yesterday, or like 2 days ago when we were making the plan, we were like doing quick exchange back and forth. And he's like, all right, before I get put in the pen pal category, like, are you free this week? Perf.
Love that.
Love that. But connecting it to what you were asking about rejection, since you don't really know the person, right? It's different than you being able to call a friend who went to school with the guy and say, oh, he's acting like this. And what do you think about that? And the person saying, well, I know that person. And yes, he tends to act like that in these situations. And here's why. And blah. You don't know that. It's all fictional.
Yeah. Right. It's crazy what the mind can do. Like
you can make it up. It's a narrative after a narrative.
Correct.
So it's really, really important. And by the way, you can feel wholly rejected being set up by a friend as well.
Yeah.
But it's super important to remind yourself not to personalize everybody else's action.
You're good with that, though. You always say, like, you know what? I didn't know them 4 days ago. Who cares?
But I wasn't always good at that. Like, I think it also comes with age and maturity. Like, I know a lot.
You portray a sense of confidence.
Me.
Yes.
Facts. I would like to think so.
No, you do.
Thank you. I definitely wasn't always like that, though. Like, I think I'm in such a different, I'm speaking for myself, like, and just people who I know who are single. It's like, we're in such a different stage of our lives now where, a few years ago, I was just like dating and fucking around. Like there was like, and I used to crush over people a lot harder back in the day than I do now. Cause I think I have a way better head on my shoulders about like who I'm really dating and who I'm going out with and spending my time with. Like my time is precious and I'm very specific now about who I'm going out with. So I don't think that, I create these false narratives like I used to back in the day, but I definitely was not always like that. But I think that just comes with maturing.
It comes with maturing and it comes with developing a sense of liking yourself more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is super important.
Right. Well, when I first started dating, I was in probably a wackadoo stage because it was like post bad college breakup. So I was just like, girls gone wild. But now I'm a little more focused.
And focused on choosing a friend first.
Yeah. You always say that, and it's so true.
And also being alone and being lonely are two different things.
Completely.
Like you choose. You're not lonely. You choose to be alone.
This isn't about me, but yeah.
No, but just in general.
No, this is all about us.
Yeah, this isn't about me.
I know. I like making it about you.
I know, but don't.
I know.
Like,
Okay.
This isn't like a podcast around like, we're going to be okay.
I think we are okay.
Yeah, you guys are flaw perf.
I know, she loves that.
I'm going to non-stop using that.
No, you're going to see flaw perf too
Honestly,
on her car.
love.
Yeah, love. I had something to say, and now I'm having a brain fart.
Yeah, you were about to say something.
I want to talk about, I want to go back to online dating, but one thing I wanted to ask you is, and maybe this is like client confidentiality, so just tell me if this is too much, but I wanted to know, I was curious if there, and especially now that you told me that you work with men more, are there any like common themes that you find across your clients that like people are, I don't want to say struggling with,
Of
but
course,
like.
absolutely. First of all, one of the things I really stress is the issues that you have in dating, you've had all your life. You've just had them in different arenas. Okay? So,
Oh my God,
if
eye-opening moment.
if you're insecure on a date and you don't think that you're something, fill in the blank, enough for the person, chances are that in other situations, you have felt that way too. So,
Is your light bulb going off with something? I
No,
see
no, but
you.
I'm just thinking, because we were talking about another time, that a nice compliment to somebody, when somebody says it, is like, you're enough. Like, you're all I need. You're all I want.
enough
whatever.
is one of my favorite words.
I like that too.
I love enough. There's a great book. I don't usually get like into technical stuff, but there's a brilliant analyst who's not alive anymore, Winnicott, and he writes a book called The Good Enough Mother. And it's about not having to be perfect. And if you take that sort of out into the world,
Yeah.
it's a great lesson.
That's great.
I love how deep we're getting right now.
No, I like
Deep
that.
is good.
It's refreshing.
Yeah.
It's really refreshing.
So in terms of themes,
yeah.
I want to respond to you in terms of themes.
Yeah, we could derail all we want.
We see themes in lots of different ways. We see overgiving. We see being defensive. We see being afraid.
Listen up.
Yeah.
Be
I'm not
defensive.
I have someone who...
Please,
Okay, go on.
mother.
Say it again.
Yeah.
You get a little defensive.
Because my buttons are pushed. But go on. This is about me.
But that's why we all get defensive when we're triggered.
Yeah.
Right. It's interesting. So that you just said triggered. So I've never been to a therapist, but I just recently went to one.
Well, wait a second. Honestly, I need to take your temperature because I've known you for a really long time.
I should have been at one 40 years ago.
That's not at all what I'm saying.
Oh.
What I'm saying is that you are an example of having a really solid internal constitution. Because look, I'm sure you have a million things that you can work on in therapy, but you come across as even, non-judgmental, kind, and compassionate.
Oh, thank you, sweetheart.
That's so
But
sweet.
I definitely have a lot of inner turmoil, but I always put on a happy face. And that's what I've always done.
Well, and you don't take your inner turmoil out in inappropriate places.
Correct. Oh, I like that. It's true. But just one session, my stuff is actually mother issues. And that's why I think I became the mother that I actually am. But
Very different than the mother you had.
Very, very different. I mean, for the last 35 years, I've tried to prove to her and always that I'm a great person and I'm a good person and I'm a great mom and whatever. And I never got that validation from her.
So we kind of go in two different directions in terms of the mothering that we had. And sometimes both at
You
the
had a
same
great
time.
mommy.
I had a really good mommy. I had a good enough mother. There is no perfect mother. I'm not a perfect mother.
Right, I agree.
And guess what? If we need to be perfect, we're really setting a high bar for our kids to live up to. That nobody's perfect.
Right.
True.
But when you think about having a mother that is really limited in terms of being able to make you feel good about yourself, as a mother, you then go to the extreme and are constantly affirming your child, or you repeat
Right.
the maladaptive patterns.
Correct. So I went the other way, the good way, and definitely probably was a lot.
But that's what you do in all your
But
relationships.
now I
You're
feel-
a good, kind affirmer.
Thank you. But I wish I would have spoken to somebody years ago, because now, I mean, one session, the woman, the last 3 minutes, I mean, she just kind of wrapped it up with a bow, and she was just like, you know what, your mom did the best she could possibly do. She just was not capable of giving you the love you deserve and wanted.
I remember after your first therapy session, I called my mom to see how it went because I knew you were going. And you go, it was so crazy. She was just like a really good listener. I'm like, yeah.
But look, one of the things that it sounds like you're learning is that, and this goes back to not feeling rejected and not personalizing dating, is nothing that your mother did or didn't do was because of anything that was wrong with you.
Right. But when you're a kid,
When you're a kid,
realize that.
well, children are completely egocentric. If the sun shines, it's because they made the sun shine. If it rains, it's because they made it rain. So we have to always personalize the negative so we can preserve the parent as being flawless, because that's our shelter.
Right.
True.
Yeah, very true.
Okay, I'm steering away from mothers for a second.
yes,
as fun
we can.
as like this
Next.
is. Next, I want to talk about like intimacy and like sex in a relationship.
Let's do it.
If that's something you talk about with your clients, but I'm finding that we always talk about like when should you sleep with someone on not on a first date, sorry. When should you sleep with someone
When should
you
you sleep with someone 1 hour into
Yeah.
the date
I want 1 hour
in the
into
bathroom of the restaurant?
Or 45 minutes.
Oh yeah, no, like 30 minutes. No, I'm
I'm
saying
the only one that drinks water on this
wait,
podcast.
I'm
do.
literally half my
Okay,
body's
Flaw.
gone. Well, should we do a sip together?
Let's do it. Cheers.
Take a shot.
So, as we get into the sex conversation, I'm just honestly curious your thoughts on like intimacy in relationships and like why am I saying intimacy like a fucking grandma? Sex, like when it comes to dating,
Because you know that there's a lot of sex that does not include intimacy, and there's a lot of intimacy that does not include sex.
unpack that.
I was going to say the exact same thing.
Let's say it at the same time. 3, 2, 1. Unpack that.
So, people, first of all, I promise
No,
we're going to do sex.
I trust you
Okay.
so much. It's crazy.
You wished that you would have gone to therapy 40 years ago. So, another statistic is 75% of the time, give or take, a couple goes to therapy, they end up getting divorced for one reason and one reason alone, and that is
They're not
they
having
went,
sex anymore.
No,
Oh.
they went too late. They didn't go. Too much has happened, whether it's infidelity, things with the children, things with the parents. The damage has already been done. So I say, along the lines of I should have gone to therapy 40 years
Yeah,
ago. Not
I
that
would've
you
felt a
should have
lot
gone.
better.
Not that, but you know what though? I know your life, and you're fine.
I am
okay.
fine.
You're more than
More than-
fine. You're good enough.
You're enough, sweetheart.
Thank you.
You're
But
enough.
but
Thanks,
the truth
girls.
is that the couples that really thrive, they come to therapy before they're even married.
I'm going to go into a first date and be like, you want to what? We should already start
By the way,
therapy
let's-
right
here's
now.
my favorite place to go for a drink. Then we go to a couples therapist. That's a first date.
Talk about scaring someone away.
Talk about it.
Talk
But people
about it.
always say, if you need to go to couples therapy so early on, then you know there's a problem. No. If you choose to go to couples therapy early on, you're in the right direction.
Wait, you're lucky Lisanne has a plan after this, right? Send her off on your date.
Hey, yeah, second date. I brought my therapist here.
Sex.
Sex.
What did I mean by you can have intimacy without sex?
Yeah.
And the reason I got into too late is that, a lot of people in marriages don't have sex.
No, not going to be me.
30 years into it, I'm telling you, it is, you cannot even fathom the number of people that come into my office and they have not, we're talking very candidly here, they've not had sex in 10 years. Okay? So when we work our way back,
Gasp.
and by the way, they have really nice lives together.
Yeah.
Something is missing. And the way you bring that back is sometimes just by holding hands, looking in each other's eyes, touching the face. That's intimacy. There's no sex.
As someone whose love language is physical touch, I'm like, throw yourself on me.
But, that is a form of intimacy.
For sure.
And sex can also lack intimacy.
Yeah, it could just be sex.
Right.
It could be sex, and oftentimes when that happens, it's for the reasons that sex shouldn't be about. Oh, then I'll feel connected. I need to have sex because then I'll know that he likes me. Well, how about if you chat about the news over coffee? Maybe you'll know he likes you then too.
Yeah.
And maybe you'll then just have fun having sex.
Well, yeah, I even know just like girls dating my age right now or however age they are, it's like they might sleep with someone like on the first or second date and it's as a girl, like if I'm sleeping with someone early on, like I'm probably going to catch feelings earlier on than I probably would if maybe not. I don't know. But
Well, you're probably having feelings pretty early on
Right.
to allow yourself to want to go to that place.
right. But then it's extra disappointing if, you sleep with someone earlier on and then they're like, peace, not into this.
Friend zone.
Well, you
Or
then-
not even friend zone. You get like they end it or you get dumped.
Well, you need to know that about yourself. You need to know, because I will never judge. I do not have a rule or an opinion or advice about wait a date, wait 10 dates. I don't do it.
Listen up, Toots.
I'm like a 4-date girl. I think you should wait 4 dates.
Why?
At least.
Everybody's different.
Thank you,
least.
Lisanne.
Everybody's different.
Because I feel like you build a little bit of an emotional connection, a little momentum. If you sleep with them on the
But
second
you're
date,
creating
like,
a really
you should
But
have
you're-
something to look forward to.
But why can't you look forward to the coffee talking about the news? Why do you have to look forward to the sex?
Not only that, sex evolves. So the way it feels the first time you have sex is very different than it feels the third time you have sex.
But I feel like it also could say a lot about the guy. You know, I feel like sometimes with the guy, maybe that's what they want.
We have a professional here.
Yeah.
This is where, I mean, I am not always the favorite
Nope,
of all
you're the
women.
end all be all right now.
I am not the favorite
men
of all
love
women.
you.
It's not that the men love me. It's that the women.
That's why you have more men.
The women play as many games with sex as men do. The women have as many affairs as men do. It's just not talked about
That's so true.
Yeah, that's
openly.
that's not
across the board.
yeah.
Okay, so
Which we won't really talk about that, but I say like if you're unhappy, just get out.
I agree, because it takes courage to get out and it takes being a coward to stay in. However, when it comes to...
I should have brought my journal of like all like my favorite quotes. I need to add so many from
We
this
need a lot of
podcast.
license plates,
Literally
right?
a lot.
This.
Not enough characters on a license
But the
plate.
truth is that, you know, how somebody feels on a first date versus everybody's an individual. So I think it's really important to really think about why you're having sex. If you're having sex because you think that's the only thing that's appealing about you and the only way that you're going to get a person, that's not such a great way to start out.
That's super helpful.
Yeah.
I love how you're looking at me
Yeah.
during this.
I'm like thinking, yeah.
I know. I have so many thoughts right now.
A lot of people have a lot of thoughts about this subject.
Yeah. 'Cause I just think there's such like a standard around like when you first start dating, no matter. I can't speak for like people in their 40s. Like I can't, but like
It's not
at
so
least-
different.
Okay, so in that regard, like there's such a standard around like when you should wait, but I'm all about like do it when you want. Do it when you feel comfortable.
So I'm going to throw it out there again because you know I'm a risk taker. Don't you think that sometimes kissing is more intimate than having sex?
Honestly, yes. Nothing is better than a steamy hot makeout.
Pash for a makeout.
Pash for a makeout.
Pash for a makeout.
Like a little
My
OTP
children
action.
will watch this podcast and never speak to me again.
I mean,
But
my dad and
we've
brother-
had a good run. So
My
it's
dad and brother
okay.
listen to this. I don't even know if my brother listens to it. And my dad, like,
We're not allowed to talk
literally
about him.
is like,
You have a nice dad.
no, I do. I think he like is slightly traumatized. But
I'm sure he's full
Yeah.
trauma about it.
Yeah.
But he like also knows me, and he's like, I don't need to hear that you're a sexual person. It's like,
So tell him to not tune in during the sex time.
can't,
Right, but now
can't
he's-
give
He'll
you guys
never speak to me again at the dinner party because I'm like, do it in the first hour.
noted.
Lisanne says.
Yeah.
Right.
But really,
If you
think
feel
about
it-
kissing. Think about kissing.
I'm thinking about
You know,
it.
you have to stop. You have to stop with the labels, right? Having
Yeah.
sex versus kissing versus this, and we, first base, second base. That's
Yeah.
our life. And
There's no bases anymore.
No, there are bases.
Are there still
but we're not like,
bases?
ooh, did you go? Yeah, but we're not like, did you? Okay, you want to hear my terminology? This is how I say it.
I really want to know your bases.
Okay, my base, like the base is the same as your bases.
You don't
It's
know
like,
what our bases are.
Kissing is base one.
First
two,
base.
first base. Second base is touching boobs.
Hunch.
100%, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The third is like a blowjob or
No,
like,
no.
That's like a home run in my
No,
book.
that's, by the way, that's like a shortstop around the bases.
Yeah, who taught you that?
Who, you think that's a third?
what the fuck is a
Danny
third?
goes from boobs to blowjob?
I mean, honestly,
We're naming this episode from boobs to blowjobs.
B2B.
Absolutely.
B2B.
Wait, can I finish then the fourth home run is sex.
Yes, but you've left a lot out,
Yeah.
sweetheart.
Well, we include like fingers in this?
Yeah, could.
That's third.
Well,
Yeah.
I didn't say, okay, you didn't let me finish because you guys were having knip shit over
Well,
a
we were
blowjob.
upset about what you thought third was.
yeah.
Third base includes like oral work, like
No.
getting
No,
eaten out or a
no.
blowjob.
Hand work.
EOs and BJs are different than third.
So where do those come in?
They're additions. They're like 3A, 3B.
All right, you guys are antiquated as fuck. There's no 3A base or 3B base. It's
Honey.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I think we're fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
You gotta fix your bases, though.
You gotta fix your
Hey guys, not to
bases.
scare you, I'm doing just fine.
I'm sure, and I'm supporting you in doing it. Just call it what it is.
Okay. Wow. Okay, so what were we just talking about before the bases again?
Intimacy.
No, I know that, but
When you should have sex.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. And then I'm having a big brain fart now. You guys got me all rattled with the bases.
Okay, but they're still around.
They're still around.
Yeah, but this is what I was saying. I'm back. This is how we define. I'm going to talk for my general age demographic right now. We don't like say like, oh, we went to third base. Like that's old.
Well, your third base is crazy.
Yeah, we're fun. Fun girlies. I say like I'm gonna talk about me actually. I say if I like kiss someone, like I just say, oh, we made out, right? But some people say if they kiss, they say hook up.
So I'm so glad you brought up hookup.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Well, I mean, it used to be hookup for us was meet up. Okay, so you want to go to the coffee shop, we'll hook up.
Yes, my dad used to always say, oh, you're hooking up with him? I'm like,
Right.
Dad? Yeah, but like
But-
not what you're talking about.
Hooking up could be first. Hooking up could be fourth. Why do you call making out a hookup?
I don't. I have friends who call hooking up kissing, and I know their lingo. So if my friend Lauren, for example, she always says like, "Oh, we hook always." Like when she hooks up with someone, we hooked up, meaning kiss. But in my mind, I know that just means kiss. But if I say we hooked up, that means we had sex. Like she knows my lingo.
So as a therapist, it's somewhat problematic because a person can come in and it can be in the typically, if I've known the person for a while, I know what's going on.
Yeah.
But second or third session, they're describing a relationship where they hooked up, and I'm thinking, did you kiss or did you have sex?
Do you want to know what
meet at the coffee shop?
Or did you meet? Well,
Do you want to know what
they're
my
30 years old. They don't even know what a coffee shop is.
Do you want to know what my second and third base word is? Because I'm not saying second and third base. I say like we canoodled. Like that means we did everything else but sex.
Does
like
anyone else use that, or is that just
No,
you?
it's strictly
Oh,
Danny
I thought
lingo.
when you would say you canoodled with somebody that it was just like
No, it
hugging
means like
and,
a penis
So-
has been in a mouth or a finger has been
Oh,
somewhere.
that's-
Okay, so for us, canoodling is hugging.
Yeah, you're very
You guys
advanced
are
in your
so
lingo.
PG.
By the way, there is nothing at all about me that is PG. However, I am just telling you
Right.
what these
She doesn't
words
have
mean.
prudes here, me
What
and
these
you.
words mean. If somebody said, "Oh, I canoodled," I'd be like, "Oh, they cuddled in
That's
the
what I
rain. How
think,
nice!"
yeah.
Not, "Oh, they got fingered on Third Avenue."
I also like I don't really use like I wouldn't use canoodle in like a public facing setting. I would just say it's my friends. Like no, I don't know
I mean, you
anyone
wouldn't
else.
say it on a podcast.
Right now, I'm thinking
my
of
podcast,
everyone
though.
Danny said to me that she canoodled with. It's
Really?
like,
Of
ching,
course
ching,
you're
ching,
thinking
ching,
that
ching.
because I thought that 2 minutes
Yeah.
ago. Now she's
I
wondering.
don't.
You've used that term before. I heard it. I thought it just meant you were on the couch, like kind of, hugging each other
Like
and
OTPing?
kissing. And,
Wait
Do you
a
guys know
minute.
what- do you guys know what OTP is?
No.
Oh, I know,
On
over the
top.
pants.
Oh,
Guess what we used to call it? What did we
Like-
call over the pants?
I don't know, like just like.
Oh,
rubbing
dry
or something?
humping.
Dry hump.
Punch.
Oh.
Rubbing the pants.
Oh yeah, we humped the pants.
It's like a dog.
I had somebody do that to me in the car.
What?
It was,
Okay, a car is lovely.
No, but you understand, it was my parents.
You did it
Really
to you, your
good
parents?
friends. No, this kid that I knew, it was like a good family friends, and we were in the car together.
With
and
your
all, like-
parents?
No, he was in the car with
Okay.
me. I don't know why I was in the car with him, and he just started like dry humping me. I
Okay, so
like,
it was
ew.
not a welcome dry hump.
No,
no
I didn't
consent.
even know what was going on. I was like, okay, this is like a
Well,
lot.
did you tell him to get off, or were you dry humping back?
No, I was like, okay, like he kind of like I was like in shock. He kind of like did his thing, and then like we went.
Oh, he
to the
did
pool.
it. Oh,
I was like
Ay, ay, ay.
to his parents.
I'm
Hi.
sorry that happened
Yeah.
to you.
talk about childhood trauma.
Next time that happens with one of your family friends, tell them to stop.
Pro tip from a therapist.
I couldn't find the words.
Because you're a pleaser.
Well, he actually.
I used to be a people pleaser. I
Please,
totally,
wait, no, not pleaser. Pleaser.
Pleaser.
I have
Lover.
I have learned the word now. I really
I
have.
love the word no.
It's a really good
It's
word.
a really good word.
And it doesn't mean you're bad, and it doesn't mean you're selfish. It
No.
just means no.
I say no to plans, to dates I don't want to go on, to people I don't want to see. No. Like, if I don't want to do something, it's a hard no.
And that's really important because when you
Yeah.
don't say no, you end up living a lot of your life with resentment
Correct.
flowing all around you.
Yeah, no is actually like top 2 words. First one being flaw perf now. Oh, so good. So good.
So I'm surprised you guys aren't asking me a question about dating.
Well, let's hear it.
Like you're dating?
No, not my dating. What about the idea of when you introduce somebody to your friends?
Oh, that's like a big thing.
When you merge your
in
worlds.
Danny's world right now.
Huge.
I don't remember it being a big thing in our world.
In our world, it was more about meeting the family.
Correct. But now.
But that's still very important.
Very.
Yeah.
But it's different. It's
Beyond.
different than meeting your friends.
That
People
was
meet
so
friends
good,
first.
Because
Friends
now,
over family.
sometimes she talks about like with her friends and like, they're introducing to the friends.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you say somebody doesn't like the guy you choose, like, are you not going to like him? Like, I don't.
So it's actually very interesting you say this. I was at dinner with like 3 of my best girlfriends, and my friend Rachel. So it was 4 of us. 2 of us are single, 2 are married. And one, my friend Rachel, who's married, said to my friend and I who are single, and she said, I have a question for you guys. Like, when you guys start seeing someone seriously and it gets to the point where you introduce us, like, let's say I don't like them, like, would you want me to tell you? And I responded and said, I wouldn't want to hear your thoughts until you've actually spent a decent amount of time with them.
That's
Like,
a great answer.
yeah, like I wouldn't want, like, you can have first opinions about someone from a dinner, but I think if you're sitting down for an hour and a half, 2-hour dinner, like, you're not really getting to know the person. One, the person's probably a little nervous, they're warming up. Like, I want you to see them in a situation where they feel comfortable and they're really thriving, and it's not the first time.
But that speaks to the fact that you are not so impressionable and that you want to be able to form your own ideas, and that doesn't happen
Yeah,
overnight. It happens after. Look, a certain number of dates in what you're feeling.
Yeah.
But it's for you to figure out.
Right. So short answer to her question was like, yes, I would want to know if you did not like him, but I would not want to know until you feel really confident in your answer. And it also depends how you approach the situation.
And especially if she didn't see any like red flags or anything too.
Right.
There's
I've like I said before, I've had not the greatest relationships, right? But during those times, like, my friends were very honest, and they were like, this is toxic. Like, you're not yourself. And in the moment, I was like, shut up, guys, because to a certain degree, you have to figure it out on your own, I always say.
And that's not based exclusively in your age world.
No, totally.
Okay, it
right.
happens all ages. It happens when you're in your 50s.
Right.
When you're in your 50s and your 40s and your 60s and you're having second relationships. How about you want to know what your kids think about who you're dating?
Right.
I mean, it goes on and on and on and on.
Yeah.
But I would also think dating now, later in life, when I had my family, I wouldn't put up with any shit.
Okay. Well, I think
Because
that's great.
I would rather be alone than be.
But many people repeat and repeat and repeat,
The
and it
same
has
pattern.
nothing to do with the age. Because I always say one of my favorite lines is, you go to therapy a cat, you leave, you go to therapy a sick cat, you leave a healthy cat, but you don't leave a dog. In other words, you are who you are. But
I love that.
right? Because really, we just have, there's so many ingredients
Woof, woof.
inside of us.
Yeah, that's so true.
Right.
Yeah. But going back to your original point around, yes, meeting friends is, and I would like to think it's like so much more important than it used to be, like you guys are saying. People, like, there are times now where like plans are just set around like me meeting my friends' boyfriends, and it's so nice, but it's like I feel like that wasn't always a thing. Maybe I'm just getting into that stage of life, but it's interesting to hear that you guys,
I think it
the
also has to
priority
do
was
with the
more.
depth of the friendships.
True.
Right? I think that friendships have evolved over the years.
Yeah.
And what we turn to our friends for have evolved.
Yeah.
So I think that determines the meeting and what the meetings mean and what the opinions mean.
Yeah.
And so on and so forth.
Yeah, that's true.
It's good.
I like that. But still, meeting the family is definitely very important, but it comes I think it comes after meeting the friends.
I would suspect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, it's very important, at least I would like to think for myself too, is I want to see who I'm dating. I want to see them interact with my friends, because I could see them in a whole different ballpark.
And you want to see how they interact with their friends.
Yes. Huge
And that they have friends.
facts.
But more than if they have friends, because some people just have a few friends.
Yeah,
Well,
a few
if you
friends are
have a few,
fine.
it's okay.
But you
It's not a
want to
numbers
see
game.
how they interact. You want to see how long they've had their friends.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. It's not so different than meeting a friend
True.
and saying, what are your friends like? Tell me about your history.
Yeah.
Tell me what, What's your track record like?
Yeah, says a lot about a person.
Says a
I think.
lot about a
relationships,
person.
communication.
100%.
I always like asking people how their friends would describe them.
That's a good question.
Yeah. I
That's
ask
a
it on
really good
dates.
question.
Yeah. How would your friends describe you?
That's great.
I wanted to go back to something we said earlier about dating post-divorce or breakup.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So there's no rules. We don't want to ever set any rules, but I'm very curious your thought around like kind of a good approach about going back into dating, whether it's after a divorce or after a breakup after you're dating someone for years, or whether, you're at that 3-month or 4-month mark with someone and they end it. Like, what is your advice really on kind of getting back out there?
Well, first of all, remember, many divorces take place after long-term relationships. And what does that mean? I mean, hopefully that means you've not, well, hopefully if being monogamous means something to you, and it doesn't have to mean something to you, but if you are monogamous in a relationship, then going out on a date with somebody can often mean I'm going out with somebody for a new person for the first time in 30 years.
Yeah.
So the last time I took my clothing off in front of somebody new, I was in my 20s.
Wait, we're on the first date meeting and you're already taking your
With the
clothes off?
dates, with the 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah,
I am
like-
not thinking
Yeah.
about when it happens.
Yeah. Shut the fuck up.
I'm focusing more
Who
on
invited the loser mom?
I'm focusing more on the feeling of that gets triggered inside of you in terms of
Yeah.
confidence and fear and familiarity and missing the person that you once were with and being open to new things. Those are scary, scary, scary feelings.
Yeah.
So my advice is exactly what I said to you. Be kind to yourself. Be as good to yourself as you would be to your best friend. And
It's
say,
so
guess
true.
what? It's okay that you're scared.
Yeah, it's so true. I want to like carry you around in my back pocket.
I always tell my patients that just imagine that you have me sitting on your shoulder.
Okay. So when I go on a date, I want to sleep with them. I'm like, Lisanne said it's okay.
Don't, Lisanne.
Mama Lisanne said it's
My
okay.
mother will never speak to her again, but Lisanne said it's okay.
No more canoodling.
No,
Canoodling.
it's a fun word to say. Yeah.
I think you made that up. No?
No, you
No.
guys use
We use it.
canoodling.
We're saying what we think it is, so we have to know
Right,
it.
okay.
Okay, anything about compatibility? Like when it comes to, going on a first date, are there things that people could, this is going to be, I don't want to get too technical, but like look out for?
Do we have to only keep that to a first date? The
No,
question about
no.
compatibility?
Nope.
Because one of the things that I think is really important, and I feel like I might not be answering your question, but I'm being bossy Bessie and
No. Yep.
telling
boss.
you what I think is huge, and that is that compromise is the foundation of every relationship.
Yeah.
There has to be a degree of compromise. You're not going to get everything from one person. So if you kind of factor that into how you think about compatibility, you have a clearer picture of it along the way, right?
Yeah.
So compatibility, maybe you're not feeling a particular kind of way within the first 30 seconds, but it evolves into something and I'll compromise on this because look what I'm getting out of that. It's a balancing act. It's
Yeah.
pros and cons.
Yeah. That's
Do you
so
believe that opposites attract, or people who are outgoing should be with another outgoing person, or there's no secret
I believe
formula?
I don't believe there's a secret formula to anything in life, but I believe that it's really important to know if you can have a friendship with that person because life happens. Bad things happen in life.
I agree.
A new pair of jeans turns into an old pair of jeans, and a new pair of jeans is always great, right? So a first kiss is always better than a 20th kiss. And the bottom line is that
Not
you have-
always.
but you have to be able to evaluate and tolerate the fact that relationships change.
Yeah.
But if you have a friendship to go back to, if you have the foundation of saying, you know what, I like you. I want to sit and talk to you.
That very much like justifies the idea of like not always having to be so hot and heavy with someone right off the bat.
Correct.
Well,
Because
is
it fizzles out.
Because it fizzles out. And
Yeah.
sex, we're getting back to sex again,
Let's do it.
transcends into other things as the years go on.
Right.
So what can start with this sort of hot, erotic, can't control yourself feeling later on, it's sort of another way of another language for saying I love you. It's different.
That's really true. I really, really like that.
Like gift giving.
Yeah. What's your love language? I asked my mom in a different episode, and she like didn't even know what they were, and just was like, "Give me all the gifts." So, what's your love language?
It's hard because my go-to is always to take care and provide.
Some motherly aspect.
Yeah. Well, caretaker. I mean, look what I do for a living. And truly.
Aside from being a mother, also a therapist.
Besides what I do for a living, being a
Yeah.
mother is the most joyous, part of my life. But over the years, I've really tried to let myself be taken care of a little bit by the other person.
It's so funny you say that. Yeah.
I feel that now too. Like, I've always been a caretaker too, and dot every I and cross every T, and I'm always thinking ahead. I kind of want to take a step back and being a little bit more taken care of also.
It's really
nice.
nice.
Like when I travel with Danny, like I get to the airport, I just become limp. She has to do the bit, but it's just so nice to me not to have to think about every little step.
And to feel like you're worth being cared for.
Yeah. I like that.
I think I said this whether I said it on an episode or to you or to a friend outside of this, but I want to be in like my feminine stage of dating where it's like, I'm very much a caretaker also. Like, I want to be taken care of. Like, shoot me for saying I want to be like doted on a little bit. So I think
By the way, I think men and women each have feminine and masculine aspects to our personalities. So
yeah, I'm trying to tone back the man in me.
Well, why?
I don't have I have an answer for everything, but I don't for that.
So think about it.
Yeah.
Because there must be something about the man in you that is happening for a reason.
It's so funny because two of my closest friends, they definitely have Jude in them. Like they're great. They're amazing moms. They're actually both moms to 4 kids. And I've said this to them before, so they're gonna laugh when they listen. But there's no like bullshit. They're just kind, solid. They're not catty.
So why is that the
They're
man
great
in them?
listeners.
Can't that be the girl in them?
No, but it's just because they don't get like wrapped up. Sometimes girls, I hate to.
And sometimes boys do too.
I know. I guess I
We're
know
more
women.
alike than we are different.
I think women are just more vocal about it.
And you can, if you look at behavior, I mean, think about it. I look at behavior all day long. If you look at behavior, you can see that cattiness in men. You just see it in a different way. The banter is different, but it's there. It just comes across in a different way. But in terms of you and the dude, I think your balance is just fine.
From this like 45-minute sesh.
Yeah, well, everything for me is a 45-minute sesh.
True.
But the point is that, think about it. Think
Yeah.
about the fact that if you're being too, if you think you're too duty, bro-y for someone,
Yeah.
maybe it's not the right someone.
Facts. I really like that.
Maybe that person's not for you.
I need to like cancel my date tonight and just like think. Sorry, I can't meet tonight. I have a lot of thinking to do.
I have to process.
I have to
right.
This was so amazing. I have a lot of processing to do.
And like I always say, be you. Everyone else is taken. So just come as you
It's
are.
really sweet.
That's a really nice thing to say.
Yeah.
Be you, everyone else is taken.
Right.
I really like that.
And it's like sometimes which I realize, like when you go on a date, we're back to dating. Like, not who cares if they like you, but it's more important if you like them.
Yeah,
like,
and that's something I never used to think about,
right.
to be honest.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
you can't imagine how common that is.
oh, I believe that.
I mean,
sure.
it's across the board, something
Right.
that a lot of people struggle with. And when you say be you, everyone else is taken, remember, in addition to that, what you imagine, and this brings up Instagram and the whole, we look at Instagram, I'm guilty of it as well, and we imagine that life looks a particular kind of way, and it's just a picture.
So true.
So behind every picture is a reality.
Well, I had in my notes to talk about like online dating, but also how like social media impacts dating these days, where it's like just like how people create a false narrative and false story about someone they're going on a date with because they're just texting a lot. Like I feel like there's so much you can create the same story about other people when really you have no idea what's going on in their relationship.
And one of the things I really think about that, and I think about it with my younger patients, is they take these deep dives. So they'll look at a Venmo account or an Instagram account, and they'll see somebody else standing in the picture, and from that they'll assume that this is this and that is that.
Social media could be so hard.
Some of it has to be organic.
I've fully gone down like a rabbit hole before. Like, I think we all have, and if you say you haven't, you're lying.
Big rabbit hole.
Big rabbit hole, but it's
we hide behind our phones in so many ways.
Yeah.
Totally. And it's funny you say that because we hide behind our phones, and then, you know, there are people who might be nervous to like send a text, and it's like, you're behind your phone. Like, you are hiding behind your phone and stalking people all the time and like having constant mind chatter, but then you're nervous to send a text, whether it's like to end it with someone after a few dates or
because
like
it speaks to different muscles.
That's true. That's true. I actually, one of my camp friends told me a crazy fact, since I just said mind chatter. She told me that 50% of the population does not have internal dialogue with themselves. Like, what else are you doing?
Where is she getting that data from?
I don't know.
It's not true.
I don't believe. I believe it though.
Not true.
Really?
Not true.
Because my response was like, what else are you doing during the day besides having a dialogue with yourself in your head?
Right, yeah.
I think the dialogue just comes in different shapes and forms. So what somebody might not consider a dialogue, I would consider a dialogue.
That's true.
That's why I love to sleep, because I feel like it's the only time my mind is quiet.
Except you dream.
Yeah, I never remember them though, but I just love.
But you dream every night.
Disconnecting.
You do dream every night.
Every night.
I used to remember my dreams. I don't remember them anymore.
Dreams are great.
Yeah.
They can really be a window into a lot.
Sometimes dreams are like, I remember I've had dreams before where it's like they feel so real.
Yes.
And I wake up and I'm like panicked.
They really can feel so real.
It's so scary. But I agree. Sleep is like the only time where like,
You're not thinking of something.
yeah,
You're doing
but I guess your
something.
mind is, because if I'm thinking about something before bed, like I kind of probably have a dream about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
So that's still mind chatter happening. So, I mean, if you can't talk to yourself, who else can you talk to?
Exactly.
Yeah. Amazing. I always ask people this who come on, what would be like your best advice for forming any type of relationship, whether it's, you know, fostering something with your parents, new friends, dating, partner, no matter what age, like what's like your go-to just really substantial piece of advice that you give to people?
Think about what you want the outcome to be. So it popped, and you know, I could give you 800 different examples and different pieces of advice. And I've said it many times during this sesh, and that is
Session.
try to be good to yourself. I always say even murderers get out of jail. Okay, so you know, at a certain point, stop beating yourself up, because life is short.
That's really huge.
But when it comes to the piece about, you know, think about what you want the outcome to be. People always say, they'll be in therapy and they'll say, oh, should I have that conversation with my mother now? You know, she's 70, I'm 35 years. Should I have that conversation what I'm uncovering today? And my answer is, what do you want to accomplish? What happened happened, right? We have to stop beating the people up for what happened.
Yeah.
Find a way to move on and let it go. It's liberating. And then you can have your life not be a complete response to everything in the past.
This is so relevant to the Sex and the City episode I just watched.
Which one?
Because Carrie cheated on Aiden and they're back together and he like can't get over it. And she's like, I need you to forget. Well, she's dramatic to begin with, but she like,
cheated on Aiden when he was living in the other apartment, fixing it when they were merging their apartments and redoing the floors. Because there's not an ep I've not seen. Do you and your friends say which character you are? Because
we talked about this. I think I'm a mix between a Carrie and a Samantha.
I was going to say Samantha.
Yeah, but I have a little Carrie in me. We talked about this, and we said Miranda likes Bush.
Yeah.
I think I'm Miranda.
No, you're not.
Wait, is something coming out in this episode? You just said you got engaged. We just said Miranda likes Bush.
Oh, Miranda likes Bush now. The Miranda that I am is the hot redheaded Miranda with Steve, who owns the bar and has the baby.
Right, Steve.
But what Sex and the City episode were you talking about?
That one, I think. Well, no, it's like
no. You said Samantha. Carrie cheats on
Aiden, and they're back together,
and he can't forgive her.
And they're like all great, and then they were having sex, and Big calls her like because they're friends. Her and Big are friends.
I know.
And he was you know the epi.
And he does the whole.
And he does the whole. Yeah, but he like he's not saying anything to her, but he's like you can tell he's like beating himself up inside.
It's a huge piece of couples
Yeah.
therapy because
Yeah.
infidelity is one of the top reasons why people go to couples therapy.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
could assume that.
And many, many, many marriages can survive infidelity. It's a matter of what forgiveness means to you. It's not exclusive to a relationship or to infidelity. Think about the concept of forgiveness. Forgiveness doesn't mean saying it's okay what you did. Forgiveness really can mean I'm really hurt by what you did, but I'm not going to let it inform everything that's happening in the future.
So you don't believe in the saying you can't read the same book and expect the ending to be different?
Absolutely not.
I like preach that to the fucking choir.
Tell me why.
I guess I don't know any better.
No, explain to me what it means to you.
It means talking about like infidelity or cheating. Like I can't imagine. I would have a hard time going back to a partner if there was infidelity there.
There's nothing
I don't
about
think-
it that's not hard.
Yeah.
Okay.
True.
And I am not
I feel
telling.
like once you do it, also, it's like the thing. Once a cheat, always a cheat.
Not true. People can change. If people
Not
can't
true.
change, then I have no business having the job I have.
That's true.
Okay. Remember, sick cat, healthy cat, not a dog. Right.
But
But the truth is that, and some people can't, and you have to know if you can't. You have to be able to say, I can't forgive you. And that doesn't make me bad. But it also doesn't make you pathetic if you can.
no, yeah, that's not what I don't associate
And by
that
the
saying
way,
with like
you're at a very different phase in your life. At
sure.
your age, you shouldn't be thinking about that.
no. Well, I'm thinking about it on a smaller scale where it's like a very small scale in the sense where like I go on a bunch of dates with someone and maybe example, I've been like love bombed before, okay? Like, you probably know what love bombing is. You're a full-blown therapist.
Full no love
So I've
bomb.
been full-blown love bombed twice, okay? And
How long did the bombing take place for?
the first bombing, a few months for both of those bombs. I think of that saying you can't read the same book and expect the ending to be different in that regard on a smaller scale where it's like they did that once, like what's stopping them from doing
But
that
that's
again?
what your mother just said, once a cheater, always a cheater. But people are allowed to make mistakes, right?
That's true, and I don't believe once a cheater,
And
always a shooter.
even murderers get out of jail.
True.
So we're going to make our lives really narrow if we think that about that book in the ending.
That's actually very true because I do not believe once a cheater, always a cheater, but I say that saying about the.
But it's the same exact
Oh my
thing.
God, I'm a fraud.
You're full fraud. No, you're flawed perf. But what I want to say to you is there are people who can't forgive, and that doesn't make them wrong.
True.
So I just want people to know that it comes in all shapes and sizes.
Yeah.
Forgiveness is hard, though.
In all aspects of
It's
life,
hard, and
forgiveness
it really
is hard.
shouldn't be,
Yeah.
but it really is.
It's
I
a
guess.
really important thing to really think about forgiveness because so many people think, and this I'm repeating myself, but so many people think forgiveness is saying it's okay what you did. Mm-hmm. It's not. Okay,
Yeah.
you're allowed to be angry forever about something.
Yeah.
Because we all have angry feelings. Those are feelings we're all uncomfortable with, but we all have them.
But it's good to let go of the feeling. When you have that feeling, you're constantly
Well, it's
thinking
good
in
to
your
You
not
head,
have-
should be taking. You
I
should.
am.
Yeah.
I'm
This
taking
is
notes.
important.
We want to be in control of our feelings. We don't want our feelings to be in control of ourselves. So, therefore, you are devastated by something, but it doesn't have to inform every day for the rest of your life. Otherwise, you're walking in quicksand.
It's true.
This is so insightful.
I like that.
I hate to do a hard stop, but I have a date I have to get to.
You have a date, and I have to fit on your shoulder.
Yeah. Well, you're already there. You've been there since the moment you got here.
This was really
This was
lovely.
so
So
fun.
good.
Wait, I want
And
to
I
do this
thank
like
you.
every day.
Every day.
Every day. Now I have your phone number. Now you're fucked.
But I know how to say no.
So there you go.
Any final words, thoughts between any of you? No.
No, but I thank you. I thank you so much for
Yeah,
being
thank you for
on.
sitting in an hour and 45 minutes of traffic
Thank
for
you
us.
for having me
This
and
was so
move
much
on
fun.
from that because I'm not even thinking about it anymore. And you continue to have your masculine and feminine side.
Fuck yeah. Just call me Daniel. Kidding. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.
Thank
you go.
you.